Good morning. Hello, my name is Jay. Nice to see you. I'm a student of duty. I've been asked by my mentor to come and take some measurements just to see how well you're recovering from your operation. First thing I need to do is just check and see who you are. Is that okay?
Yes.
Lovely. Right. Can I have a look at your wristband? Can you tell me your full name, please?
Elizabeth Windsor.
Fantastic. And your date of birth?
The 10th of June 1991.
And do you know your hospital number?
I don't.
No, not many people do, so let me just have a quick look. Okay, I'm going to write this down.
Okay.
Okay, so Elizabeth Windsor, 10th June 1991, and your hospital number is T007 Q1953. That's nice and easy. Okay, so I'm just double checking that's Elizabeth Windsor, and your date of birth, 10th of June 1991.
Yes.
Okay, and I've just double checked your hospital number, and that's correct. What would you like me to call you?
Everybody calls me Queenie.
Queenie, excellent. I shall do the same if that's all right by you then. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take your temperature. I'm going to use this machine over here, and all we're going to do is that little probe is just going to go very gently inside your ear, and I'm going to press that button there, and it makes a noise, and that tells us what your core temperature is, and just make sure you're recovering nicely from your operation. Are you happy for me to do that?
Yes.
Yeah? What I will have to do is I just have to hold your ear very gently and pull it back. Is that okay with you? Do you have a preference on which ear?
The right one, please.
The right one, okay. So first one, I'm just going to put a cap on. It makes it nice and clean for you. I'm going to come around behind you if you don't mind. And then this is just going to go gently in your ear. Just going to pull your ear back just slightly. There we go. Inside your ear. Is that okay?
Yes.
And press the button. Brilliant. Okay, so it says 37.5.
It's warm in here.
It is very warm here. Now the normal range is, our normal range is between 36 and 37. That's what we like. But you've had an operation, so things do change. I'll write it down on your chart and I will let my mentor know as well. But there's nothing to worry about. So finding the radial pulse, we follow the thumb down into that depression just there. And then we can just move our fingers back a little bit, and there we go, just in there. Sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's surface. Nice and easy. And then finding the brachial, again we can follow this time the little finger up, and it helps if you just hyperextend the elbow a little bit, and then again we can find it just in there. There we go. Okay, Queenie, so the next thing I need to do is I need to check your blood pressure. Have you had your blood pressure taken before?
I think so. Yeah.
Lovely. Then you know what's going to happen is we've got this cuff, it goes around your upper arm. I inflate it. It does get quite tight. If it gets too tight, let me know and I can deflate it quite quickly.
Okay.
I'm going to do that twice. First time I'll do an estimate where I put my fingers just on your wrist here, and that means that I don't have to inflate it too high for you. And the second time I'll be using the stethoscope and just placing it on your arm there. Are you happy for me to carry on with that?
Yes.
Lovely. So the reason we're doing this is obviously just again checking your blood pressure, making sure it's at the normal range for you after your operation. And what I've got, if I can just turn your arm over, that's lovely. I'm just going to feel for your pulse just in there. That's perfect. And then I can put this arrow which points directly at your pulse. It's just wonderful. That's 2 fingers under there, so that's not too tight and it's the right size. Just open all that out. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to need my glasses here so I can see what I'm doing, is we're going to inflate. So I'm just going to close the tap there nice and gently, not too hard, otherwise it gets stuck. And oh, there we go, helpful. Thank you very much. Here we go, just find your pulse again. There it is. And I'm going to inflate it nice and gently. And as I get near the top, just slow down a little bit until I can't feel your pulse anymore. Right, so I've got 110. And I've deflated it very quickly again so it doesn't hurt me. I'm just going to get the stethoscope now, which is in this box over here. There we go. Making sure I put them in the right way, so pointing away from me. Make sure that's closed inside, and then I'm just going to palpate, feel for that pulse up here again. There we go, and I've got my stethoscope over the top. Okay, so here we go, I've got to inflate again.
Okay.
Just close that valve. So I can start hearing it beating already. I've got up 20 above 110, and now I'm coming down again. Here we go, that's 120 dead on, because I've just started hearing the beat. And we stop at 68. There we go. So that was 120 over 68. Let me just take this off first. There we are. Rest your arm now. So 120 over 68. 120 is your systolic. That's when your heart is actually beating. So it's contracting. And 68 is your diastolic. That's when your heart is at rest. That's what they mean. And our ranges, so for diastolic, where you were 68, we like a range between 60 and 90. So that's perfect. And for a systolic, where you were 120, we like a range between 100 and 140. So again, I'll put that on your chart, but that's really good. Okay, so putting on a cuff. We can see here, first of all, we've got the measurement lines, and these are for the kind of the circumference of the arm, really. If the end of this cuff goes beyond that measurement line, which this isn't, then the cuff will be way too big. So it's got to be within those measurements. We put the cuff with the Velcro, that's the stuff there, the Velcro on the outside, and we usually have some kind of arterial line mark as well. So we palpate to that brachial artery, and then we know that that is where the arterial line needs to point at. We're going to put the cuff on a couple of fingers above, again above the break in the arm, and fairly tight, not too tight. We don't want it rolling about, but we do want to be able to get a good 2 fingers underneath, but no more. And it's got to be, as I said, 2 fingers above. And then when we're inflating, this is really important, this can actually hurt, so we've got to be really careful when we're inflating. So we close the balloon, and you close it clockwise, and you don't tighten it really hard, because you'll be using one hand, and you've got to be able to undo it and close it with your thumb and finger. So don't do it really tight, literally just close it finger tight, just like that. And then we feel for the radial artery, we make sure we can feel it, and then we just slowly inflate. And as we're inflating, we're watching the dial, and we're feeling for our radial artery. The moment that we can't feel that pulse anymore, that's our estimated height, and we have to then release really quickly. There's no need to keep it up there, release it straight away. That's quite a quick operation, that bit. The next bit, when we're using our stethoscope, first thing we must make sure is we put the steths in the right way, so they're always pointing away from you, because your ear canals go slightly forward, so they've got to be pointing away, and then they go in. We make sure that the hole in the bottom of the stethoscope is closed up, because we're using this side. And again, we palpate for that brachial, slightly extend so we can feel it, and put the steth over the top. And be careful that we're not pushing it up against the cuff, because then that can make some sounds that kind of confuse us as to what we're listening to.
Or popping your own fingers or thumb in the actual...
over the top is not good. So that's what kind of why these rubberized bits are there. You kind of hold it like that. And then we inflate again. We look at our estimate. We're going to go 10, 20 above our estimate, and as we're going up, we can actually hear the heartbeat. We can hear the pulse as we're going up, and then it's going to disappear. And you want to go above that, because sometimes it disappears and then comes back again. So you want to go above that, make sure it's definitely gone, and then nice and gently you're going to come down until you hear that first beat, and that's your systolic. And then you'll hear it beating and beating and beating. It'll get fainter and fainter, and then it'll suddenly disappear, and that's your diastolic. And then we can release nice and quickly. And you need to do that nice and gently. There's no rush, but don't hold it up there for too long, because it does hurt. So the last thing we've got to do is I've got to do what's called a pain assessment. So I just want to find out how you're feeling at the moment. If you could let me know.
I've got a little bit of pain in my tummy.
Oh, have you? Is that the site of the operation?
Yes.
Okay, so if you imagine a scale, so 0 to 10, 0 being no pain whatsoever, and 10 being the worst imaginable pain, could you give me a number on that scale?
Only about 4, I think.
A 4, okay, so 4 for me would be, that's kind of niggly.
Yeah.
What would you do normally, let's say at home, if you had a pain with that at school? Would you take some paracetamol?
Probably.
Okay, so what I'll do then, I'll write that down, I'll let my mentor know, and then they can come and hopefully give you some kind of pain relief for that.
Thank you.
So is there anything you'd like to ask me?
No.
Lovely. Okay, well, it's really nice to do those physiological measurements with you, and I'm sure I'll be back again and do them at a later stage as well.
Thank you. What was your job title again?
I'm an ODP.
And what does an ODP do?
Operating Department Practitioner. We look after you.